Welcome back to AskEma.com. Ask Ema Giacoli for those that watch the YouTube channel and for everyone else who follows or views through Facebook. Thank you so much for joining me again. I wanted to cover today just really quick. I know I posted the weekend's Q&A a little late this week, so I apologize for that. But I also wanted to post today a quick video before the weekend actually begins, by close of business day today. Just some highlights on buyer beware. So in the past couple of weeks, I've had the opportunity to not only visit, of course, the Mid-Hudson Valley, which I hold dear to my heart. I also visited Staten Island and as well as the North Fork. So traveling around, because these are all areas that interest me in terms of investment and purchases. I like to deliver the information in real time, and I like to deliver the information to you how I experience it and what my views are. So with the buyer beware, the highlights that I want to cover again is things that you need to look out for. One, are you in a flood zone? Please check your flood zones. I know people love to buy in Red Hook, but sometimes in a big storm, and I know we don't always have a big storm, but when we do have a big storm, some homes there were underwater, like 8 feet of water in their lower level finished basements and things of that nature. So please, buyer beware in terms of flood zones, because sometimes if your elevation levels are very, very low, if your water table is very low, you're going to get water regardless if it's a big storm or a small storm, right? You're going to get a bunch of groundwater rising. So please keep an eye for that. And that's everywhere. There's parts of Long Island that flood all the time. There's other states like Houston now is having some major flooding. So, New Jersey has a lot of flooding. And I know people buy where they're capable of buying, but just beware, okay? Just be aware of those things and try to make the smartest decision you possibly can. It's not just the water, it's always the remediation and the rebuilding of your life. Another thing always to look out for is black mold. That is now the new lead. So I'm recapping again before we wrap up this session on buyer beware. So black mold, is toxic and harmful. And I know HPD is, in New York at least, they're cracking down on mold. Mold is not only common to basements and moisture and water penetration, also to the state of Florida. I'm in the process of getting licensed for my Florida broker's license. Took the class, passed the test. Woohoo, I'm so excited. And now I'm going to take the state exam. That's my goal for this summer, is to complete the state exam and pass it. So then I'll be duly licensed in 2 states, not because I'm moving to Florida or anything like that, but just because it gives me more knowledge in real estate. And New York is filled with snowbirds. And so I want to be able to even just answer questions on that. Eventually, I may be licensed in another couple of other states as my life goes on, just because I like to keep gathering information. So Florida, big mold issues all the time. Air conditioning is very critical there because of the moisture and the humidity levels that the lower part of the state endures year round. So please keep your eyes open to that, especially smaller mini-me's, right? The little kids, the children, keep them in mind, please, because they are still developing. They're in developmental stages. Adults can probably tolerate more. Check with a doctor, check with your allergists, and make sure you use local. So recapping, use local inspectors, people who are familiar with that. Pennsylvania also radon, so check for that. So a lot of our states, unfortunately, there's no real safe place, right? There's some places that unfortunately are always touched by tornadoes and things of that nature. So, you want to just make sure that wherever you're buying in the United States, that you buy something that you've thoroughly checked out and that you feel like you can at least plant your feet there and stay for a while. And so while I was up in the Hudson Valley, I do love that area, and I think so many Brooklynites and Manhattanites are headed up there. There's a lot of issues, and you please look at it carefully. I mean, a good friend of mine just alerted me to the fact that the water in New Windsor is now contaminated. That's a problem. Newburgh is also has some contamination going on. This is all from the Newburgh Airport. The article was published. You can Google it. So what ends up happening is these chemicals, these compounds that do not get filtered through your well systems. They do not get filtered. These are nitrites. These are carcinogens. So please be careful, okay? So buyer beware. I'm just going to shift my destination for myself for a little bit. I'm going to be a little more cautious and thorough. I'm contacting some local well companies up there to get some more information so that I can so that I can, deliver to you some real hardcore facts in terms of wells and septic and things of that nature. So please, the Hudson Valley is fantastic. There's no reason not to buy. Just be careful where you are deciding to purchase. In terms of the North Fork, same situation there, right? They were farmers, so agriculture, pesticides, and things like that we don't think about. Someone was nice enough to bring that to my attention. When I was looking upstate, I did like a house. It was close to an apple orchard that was around for 100 and something years, and they warned me to the fact that the underground contaminants had destroyed the septic tanks there, and the soil there was not good anymore. So not good for me, because I'd like to plant and grow some stuff. And so I'm really looking for something a little bit healthier than that, than to, start growing my vegetables and stuff and on my free time when I go upstate and end up being contaminated, right? That's the last thing I want. I'm trying to go get some fresh country air, not cancer. So I might as well stay here and suck in diesel fuels, diesel truck, exhaust from diesel fuel, instead of running all the way up there to get sick. I might as well stay where I am for the moment. So until I figure that all out. So I want to deliver to you in real time. So out in the North Fork, same thing. Beautiful homes, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There's a lot of farm areas. So again, just beware. Buy a home, be wise, make sure everything's clear. And for those that have septic and well systems throughout the country, I mean, you should be testing your water once a year. It really, really, really is worth it. I mean, I know it's an expense, but it is definitely critical, because you only get one life in this world and in this journey. So please enjoy it. Please live to your healthiest and fullest that you possibly can. And no, you can test your well once a year, and you can chlorinate it once a year. So those two things are critical, right? So they are an added expense. Calculate it, please, into your monthly payments, so that this way you're safe and you keep yourself and your family safe. Again, buyer beware. Use someone local to do home inspections. Use a local real estate professional who is honest, truthful, and transparent, delivering you the information. Call the local water. If your water and sewer is from the town, please call the town. Find out where's the source, where are they pulling the water from. Like, is it coming from a reservoir, and if so, where? Things like that you want to know. If you're into the well system and you're drilling a new well, make sure you use a reputable company. If you're, it doesn't matter if you're in the Midwest or, the Northwest, just make sure that you always check these things out. Again, buyer beware, be alert, use local, transparent, ethical people to run the tests. At the end of the day, most home purchases are the largest purchase of your life. You're going to put yourself in a financial situation with the bank, like a long-term marriage, whether it's 10, 15, 20, or 30 years long, right? You may as well spend a couple of extra bucks and make sure it's exactly what you want, because there's no jumping out once something is bad. It gets very challenging to jump out of that. It's like going to become a 3-ring circus, and you really don't want to do that. So just make sure before you actually pull the trigger or ink the paper that you've done all the testing that you possibly can. Keep yourself safe, keep your family safe, do your own due diligence. I know we use attorneys in New York State, and that's great, but they're not going to run those tests for you. You need to run those tests for yourself. So if you're concerned about cancer levels on Long Island, call all of the local resources and get yourself some facts. Find out what kind of cancer, why is it happening, what is the common thread in all of those results, and do you want to live there? And if you do want to live there, like, what would you do? How can you overcome that challenge of contaminated water if you want to be in the Hudson Valley and you fell in love with a house there? So, things like that. So please double check, dot your I's, cross your T's, run all your tests. The disclaimer, yes, I'm a licensed real estate professional. I sell real estate. I'm not an expert on any of the fields that we talk about in terms of like lead or radon levels. That's why I don't talk about that. But I am just bringing you aware of things that can occur when you purchase a home. So you must check with local professionals that are in those fields. You need a lawyer, you need an engineer, you may need a home inspector, you may need a radon test done, you may just need a mold test assessment done, lead, all of those things. You're free to get them all done. They do cost a little bit of money. And at the end of the day, isn't it better to spend $1,200 to test your water before you buy the house than to determine later that you bought a house with contaminated water? I think it's worth the $1,200. In some places it's less, some places it might be more, but it's definitely worth it. I know upstate New York it's about $1,200, but you could call a local professional for the exact quote, but just sharing what I know. And so just putting you on the right track. Enjoy shopping for a new home. Staten Island has lots of possibilities. Long Island has lots of possibilities. There is life outside of the boroughs. You'd find it out that it is changing there. It is resembling more and more and more, like a suburban setting. Even in the farm areas, in the agricultural parts, it's getting very suburban. And before you know it, it'll look urban, which is sad because we're moving out. We move that way to get more space, but it's getting crowded out there too. And there's a lot of traffic, so something else to consider. Noise pollution, buyer beware, noise pollution, right? About my house, there's a lot of truck traffic here. Noise pollution about, you lose sleep deprivation, things of that nature can occur if someone's super sensitive to sound. So please keep it in mind. And that's it. So for today, really quick, just covering those few things. Just want to keep you informed and in the loop and on track. And I'll talk to you soon. Hopefully see you Monday or Tuesday with Q&A from the weekend. Enjoy. Stay dry. Happy Mother's Day. Bye.